three of you?
Well, no.
About how I had to control these two?
No, most challenging moment.
No, the most challenging moment. For me, it was learning Telugu. That was my most challenging, but most exciting as well.
And for Tariq sir and Ramcharan sir, please, I would love if you answer.
Alright, ek sawal.
One question only, they are all answering.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm going to make Tarak answer on my behalf as well. Because each and every day of RRR shoot, we were together, so pretty much our experiences have been the same. And Tarak, how do you?
Well, I should say that there were many moments in RRR which were challenging, physically, and we shot for this crazy action sequences there was this action sequence we shot for 65 nights, and but I think even Charan will agree, and he can say otherwise. But I think the most challenging moment for us was to please him, satisfy him, because he is one of those directors who will not. I think he's the only director. At least I would believe that there are few directors who would say, 99.9 is also fine. I'll take hai, main le lunga. But he's like, no, I want my 100. You give me my 100, and then you move out of the camera. So that was the most challenging thing for us, right?
Okay.
Yes, Charan.
Absolutely. Yeah. Next question.
So like usually for the movies as well.
Can I narrate a very funny story
Yes,
before you all
please.
speak? Can I? So I remember on the first day I was shooting with Tarak, and I was on the floor. Okay, as per the scene. And Tarak had to bend down and something or pick me up or something like that. He couldn't bend down because his legs were so sore. Because he had done a heavy leg workout. You remember this? And so that's what I mean, my reason to narrate this story is I could tell without them saying how hard these guys have worked on their body. Like he couldn't even bend down, like his legs were so sore. And then we all had a good laugh about it, and then he bent down because he had to.
मेरा नाम जगदीश सिंह है, मैं इंटरव्यू टीवी से हूँ। मैं आपका और आपकी टीम का अभिनंदन करता हूँ इस बात को लेकर के कि चाहे वो बाहुबली रही हो फिल्म आपकी और चाहे ये आरआर फिल्म रही है आपकी, आपने भारत के गौरव को दिखाया है। चाहे वो सनातन धर्म का रहा हो, चाहे वो हमारे बैरियर्स का रहा हो। मैंने भी आपकी फिल्म का ट्रेलर देखा, गाने देखे, मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा और मैं इसीलिए आपकी टीम का अभिनंदन करता हूं कि आप हमारे उस इतिहास को दिखा रहे हैं जो हमारे बच्चों को, हमारी नई पीढ़ी को सीखना है। तो मैं ये आपसे पूछना चाहूँगा कि ये जो दो चरित्र आपने उठाए हैं, अल्लूरी सीताराम राजू, कोमाराम भीम, तो इनके बारे में थोड़ा सा आप हमारे दर्शकों को बताएं।
Okay, my Hindi is not so good, but I tried to answer the question the way I understood. Generally, from my childhood, whenever we learned the stories of ancient India, how they were portrayed, how world perceived India, was like it's a dusty place, it's a country of poorness, it is a country of sick people. No, it used to make me feel very, very bad about it. The British newsreels, if you take the archives, no, it always showed India as a third world country and no, those kind of things. Of course, a part of it was true, but at the same time, I was taught from my childhood, India has a rich history, India has a rich culture, and just plain richness. India had so much of richness. And if you read other historians, if you take, I forgot the name of the Dutch explorer who came to South India, and he wrote the annals of Vijayanagara Samaraja in South, ruled by Krishnadevaraya. In that he writes, he went into the houses of commoners, house of the commoners, and he found that everyone, males and females, wore anklets made of gold. Okay, this is truth. This is the truth. This is a fact that was recorded in history. And he also wrote that middle class people had the bathing vessels made of gold. No, that is what the culture, what is the history of India. But that was never shown. That was never told. So I thought, okay, why should I take a Westerner account of what India is? No, I'll take account of what I was taught in my childhood, what I would imagine my country would be, what I imagine my freedom fighters would be. So that's the way, that's the reason why I choose. So even if you take the stories of Komaram Bhim and if you take the stories of Allur Sitaramaraju, which were in 1920s, whatever historical account we have is still written by the Britishers, right? Not by Indian historians. What we have is some legendary folklore that we have and historicals written by the British. That is not what I wanted. That is not how I imagined my freedom fighters to be. That's the reason I took a completely fictional account of their lives, Allur Sitaramaraju and Komaram Bhim. There is a time in history where we don't know what happened to them. During 1920s, they went away from their homes, from their respective places. After 3-4 years, they came back to their respective places and started fighting against the oppression. So what would have happened in those 3-4 years? So many things could have happened. So I took my own tale of weaving this imaginary tale of fantastic friendship, fantastic enmity between these two forces, and how they inspired each other to become the ultimate freedom fighters they were. So there is an element of patriotism that runs in the story. There is an element of freedom struggle that runs in the story. But the main line of the story is friendship between these two legendary fighters.
तो हम जब ट्रेलर देख रहे थे, so we saw a very small glimpse of Alia in the trailer. So maybe because my cinematic knowledge is not so much clear, so I just want Alia to make it clear what kind of role you are playing in the film.
Okay. Like we have been telling from the beginning, Alia comes as an important character. It's not a full-length character, it's a cameo. But the character is so important. It's so important because in the film we have two heroes who are like superpowers, who are like fire and water, out to destroy each other if things don't go well. And in between we wanted a soft, fragile looking girl, but who has enough inner strength to control these forces or lead these forces in the proper way. So that's why I wanted Alia to do it. So if you're talking about the length of the character, it is less. But if you're talking about the importance of the character, it is very high.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Hi,
Last question.
Hi everyone, my question is for Rajamouli sir. Sir, there is always an element of mythology in your films. In RR trailer also we saw a glimpse of mythology. So please tell us your love about mythology, and is it always a conscious decision to put mythological element in your films?
It's a very subconscious decision because I grew up from my childhood listening to the stories of mythology, either from my grandparents and parents or through Amar Chitrakada. It is completely imbibed in my blood, the stories. So whatever goes in comes out. So because I have so much of input of the mythologies, they tend to come out in my stories in different forms. And I feel very proud of it.